How's it going, and welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. In this episode we're going to be talking about dual overdrive and distortion pedals and why I think they're a great choice for your pedal board. But before we do, please like and subscribe as always, and head over to my channel while you're at it and check out this video where you're in with a chance to win a really nice Mosky distortion pedal from their hand-built series. So check it out. Okay, so to talk about dual overdrive / distortion pedals, right? I'm going to start with the Trex dual drive. So what this is basically two distortion pedals in one box. I think they're very, very similar circuit, or even the same circuit, but they have their own set of controls. So they in this case, it's got its own it's got its own gain and level on both sides, and then each one has their individual tone knobs. And what that allows you to do is basically set up a mild distortion and a heavy distortion should you want to, or maybe a medium distortion and a lead channel. It basically turns your single channel amp into a 3-channel amp. And that's the reasons why that's really, really great is because as opposed to using two separate pedals, and some of this is personal taste. The first thing is consistency of sound. As opposed to using two different pedals for light drive and heavy drive, you get the same circuit, so you get like the same overall sound. So your guitar into the pedal into your amp, whether you're playing light drive or heavy drive, you have the same fundamental sound. And I really like that for consistency of sound coming off a stage when I'm trying to be the person in a band that's defining my band's sound. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's one power inlet, right? So on a pedal board where you may have limited power jacks from your power supply brick available under your board, it's one as opposed to two. And then thirdly, it just takes up less space, right? The foot switches are far enough apart so that you're not going to step in them both unless you really want to. And in this case, incidentally, that wouldn't matter anyway, because this switch here turns on and off the pedal, and this switch switches between the two different gain settings, right? So that's the dual drive. And what I'm going to show a demonstration of how I use this, because I would use this only into a clean amp as my distortion sounds. Then the other pedal is the Deluxe Preamp, right? And this is more of an overdrive and a boost in one. This is a very different kind of pedal. So I would use this into the dirty channel of my amp. It's great for all the same space saving and power inlet saving reasons, but I'd use it differently. So I would use this in a situation where I'm using a channel switching amp, and I would, when I'm on the dirty channel, use the overdrive or the boost to either have two different flavors of distortion or to have one different flavor of distortion and then a lead sound with the dirty channel of my amp. So there you go. A dual distortion pedal and a dual overdrive pedal. Both really, really useful space saving things on your pedal board. So we're going to take a listen now to how I would use both of them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the dual drive. And I'm going to demo it in the context of it being more of a distortion pedal than an overdrive pedal. It's two different distortion. I think it's the same distortion circuit maybe, but just different controls over it. So you've got a kind of a lighter side and a heavier side. And you're using this in the context of it being the main source of overdrive or more so distortion in your rig, right? So right now I'm just going from my Strat with a humbucker in the bridge into the pedal, and then from the pedal directly into the input of the Koch Studio Tone 20, and I have it set very, very clean. So okay, so that's the amp sound. I've reverb coming from the amp, nothing else in the chain at all. So right now you can see I have the gain on side A here. So you'll see if I hit this A-B switch, it goes between the orange and red gain. And on the orange side, which is more lower gain side, I have the level quite severely boosted. And I have the gain just before noon. And when I turn on the pedal, it goes from 2. So immediately there I go to the back pickup. I have a light overdrive sound. Okay, now what I can do is I can boost the gain here and get a heavier overdrive sound. Bring the level back a bit. And with that humbucker, it's a really lovely sound. And I can just roll my volume back on the guitar to get a lighter overdrive sound. I think in the context of how I'd use this, I'd probably set it up with the first channel about that much gain, maybe a little bit less. Yeah. So it almost becomes like a pushed kind of plexi kind of sound. And then I switch over to the other channel and it gets much more high gain. Bring the level back again. So in this context, there's two ways that you could use this pedal. You could set up both levels to be the same as each other. So you go from clean, right? If I turn off the pedal, switch back to the orange setting. So I turn off the pedal, I turn on my volume. Humbucker sound. Okay, and then I go for my light drive. And I can switch to my heavy drive should I want it. Now you'll notice the volume is pretty consistent, like the light drive is slightly louder than the clean and the heavy drive is slightly louder than the light drive. And the reason for that is different dynamics, so that when you change from one to the other, you get a dynamic shift in your playing so that it has the right impact when you change parts and songs. However, the other way to do it would be to just set the gain slightly higher on the orange side and set the volume slightly higher on the red side, and then you get basically a rhythm and a lead channel, right? So we go from clean again. And then we come to the part where we want distortion in the song. Move into the part where you want a solo. Gain boost, level boost. You get the idea. So there are the two different ways that you can use this, and this is why I think dual pedals are so good. The other thing you could do is you could go back to the original setting, right, where it was kind of more just two stages of overdrive. And you could, for all intents and purposes, put a boost pedal after this here, so that it goes guitar, distortion pedal, boost, and then you could have both sounds as you wanted. Clean, dirty, heavy. Find the right balance. And then you could just put a boost pedal after it and use the boost pedal to solo in any one of those sounds. So you could have a clean solo, a slightly dirty solo, or a heavy solo. That would be probably the way I would use this. But yeah, that's the dual drive. I think it sounds great. It's also interesting to note that if I go back to the clean drive setting and go to the neck pickup, you do get maybe a little bit more gain. It works, a distortion pedal I think works for a bluesy kind of sound as well. So that's the dual drive. Okay, so what I've done now is I have switched over to the Deluxe preamp, right, just to show the difference between the two pedals. And crucially, because I play rock music, right, I wouldn't use an overdrive pedal as my principal dirty sound. I'd use it for effect on a clean sound if I was using it on a clean channel. But in this instance, how these dual pedals work really well is in an overdrive format, I think, is going into the dirty channel of the amp. So all I've done is I've switched over to the dirty channel on the amp, and the neck pickup sounds like this. Back pickup like this. I'm going to talk about now what the great uses for a boost and an overdrive are in this situation, right? So Okay, so starting with the boost. The boost basically gives you higher volume input of the same thing. So neck pickup. And the more you drive or less you drive that input section, the more heavy it gets. To me, this gives you a more vintage sounding distortion. So, okay. Then if I go switch that off and go over to the overdrive side, I have the bass roll back slightly and the tone straight up, okay? And I have the drive back and level up. I'm gonna bring the drive in a bit more, right? So here's what this sounds like. So that's the overdrive. Now boost, much more bass end, doesn't it? And immediately it takes your one dirty sound into three completely different dirty sounds. So this is just my dirty sound. Now dirty with overdrive, heavy with the bass gone out of it. And now super heavy with all the bass still there. And in this way, I think an overdrive pedal can, a boost and an overdrive in one is really, really useful tool to have. And so finally, the other thing you can do is you could set this up, leave that as it is, and basically use this for lead and this for, or whichever one you wanted. But I personally think that the bass end is more useful in the lead, and the lack of bass is more useful in the heavy rhythm sound. So you have your want to make that heavier. And then you want to play a lead part, kill that, turn this on. Or indeed both of them. And that's what I think is so great about a dual overdrive pedal into a dirty amp. Really useful. So there you go. Dual overdrive and distortion pedals. Like I said, I think it's just a really sensible way to save space and power on your pedal board and keep your sound consistent coming off stage with your band. I really, really love both of these pedals. Incidentally, this was part of a collaboration with Foam and the Trex did maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It's not available anymore, but I picked this up secondhand for €60. A dual distortion pedal by Trex for €60, amazing. And then this I got off AliExpress direct from Mosky. I think they're about 35 quid. Both, I think, are excellent pedals and very affordable. So there you go. Dual overdrive and distortion pedals, I think, a really good choice for your pedal board. Thanks for watching as always. Please like and subscribe if you've gotten this far, and if you have, as always, I thank you. And lastly, I'll mention again to go back and watch the competition video and see if you want to win yourself a cool Mosky hand-built distortion pedal. All right, I'll talk to you in another video again soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.